Hello and welcome to our show. My name's Mike. This is Jake. I'm in a shirt this week. We're still going with our show at the moment.
Yeah, I felt like it really spoke to the people last time.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of communist our show. The people's show.
What's the name of that cult from The Simpsons where that guy's in the barn and he's just trying to fucking get... and he's like...
I'm not going to remember.
Full of money bags.
Yeah, and he's escaping on his space shuttle.
Yeah. It's basically that.
Yeah. On with the show. Coming up on the show, Liam's got a nice little bit about Onimusha because there's another release of an Onimusha game this week, which is great news if you like Onimusha.
Specifically the old ones that you've already played, because
Exactly.
Guess what? That's what they are.
Yep.
I'm also going to be talking about Below and why it's the latest casualty in the war on crafting in video games.
Yeah.
And why that upsets me greatly.
If this war is news to you, don't worry, it was
war
news
correspondent
to me as well.
Jake Kulkowski's on the case. Yeah.
Also, no, actually, not also. First, let me tell you about why the time is just right for some more damn Lord of the Rings games. If you hadn't heard, two games, Lego The Lord of the Rings and Lego The Hobbit, were removed from sale on digital stores last week. Steam, PlayStation Store, Xbox, the lot. It's probably nothing major. Usually these things are to do with licenses running out, and that's something that tends to happen a lot, especially with the Lord of the Rings IP. You can't buy mid-2000s strategy classic Battle for Middle-earth 1 or 2 on EA's Origin Store, for example. If you want to get your hands on one of those games now, you either buy it second-hand, you download it illegally, or spontaneously receive a mint-condition copy from a mad, generous bastard that you went to EGX with. Those are your only options. And that is pretty much going to be the case with these two LEGO titles now as well. Unless, of course, you have already bought them. Because if you already added these games to your digital libraries in the past, don't worry. You can still download and play them as much as you want. This ain't a PT situation. You just can't buy them anymore. No, if you fancied buying one of these games and just thought you'd bide your time for 6 or 7 years until the right sale price came along, well, shit. You know, I think they gave the Lord of the Rings one away for free on Humble Bundle as well at one point. Anyway, you're probably asking, Mike, this is some of the most boring shit I've ever heard in my life. What are you on about? Well, listen, I think there needs to be some serious questions raised at the moment. Questions like, where the hell are all the quality Lord of the Rings games? Lord of the Rings is not just the single greatest story ever committed to film. There's also a book, I think. Yeah, I think there's maybe a book or a comic, a graphic novel or something. But look, whatever. The people who own the rights to that original comic book / graphic novel, the Tolkien estate, are extremely protective of the IP created by J.K. Rowling all those years ago. They want to make sure the Lord of the Rings IP is respected, and they put a high price on the rights for anyone to use it. Amazon forked out $250 million just to acquire the rights to make the upcoming Lord of the Rings TV series, which will reportedly focus on a younger Aragorn than we see in the films. Industry estimates say the production could end up costing over $1 billion. That's a lot of money to spend in an effort to make some money. But here we are, the money has been spent, the Tolkien estate is happy, and some new Lord of the Rings things are happening. And while I personally find it hard to get excited at the prospect of a Lord of the Rings marketing and IP reboot based on a TV show, I am excited about the inevitable increased interest there will be in making games based in Middle-earth. Lord of the Rings is some of the most ripe turf for making video games outside of Star Wars. Turf? Turf. Yeah, turf. Baffling then that we end up more often than not with bang average games like Lord of the Rings Conquest, Lord of the Rings Aragorn's Quest. There was that one game, Guardians of Middle-earth, which everyone had forgotten until I've just mentioned it now, and Middle-earth Shadow of War. You heard me. Bang average. Even the ones I love aren't really that highly rated. Battle for Middle-earth 2 and the PS2 movie tie-in hack and slash games, they didn't really get glowing reviews. The highest rated Lord of the Rings property game is probably the MMO Lord of the Rings Online, or maybe 2014's action RPG Shadow of Mordor at 84 to 87 on Metacritic on the various platforms. And rightly so, that game was an absolute revelation when it came out, thanks to the exciting potential of the Nemesis system. But this is surely not nearly fulfilling the potential of the Lord of the Rings IP in games. Look at Star Wars again. There is a vast breadth of really high quality games in the past using the Star Wars IP, some of which would count among the best games of all time. I'm looking at Knights of the Old Republic, the Jedi Knight games, Rogue Leader. There are some stone cold Star Wars classics. It's about time that there were some Lord of the Rings games to match. Fucking make it happen, Jeff. What's your name? Bezos? No joke, some of my favourite games ever are Lord of the Rings games, and I would like more of them. That is what that bit of voiceover was about. I just want some more Lord of the Rings games. It is a perfect time, though, right?
It's the best IP for nerds, surely. Do you know what I mean? Like you were saying, some of your
Star Wars.
Yeah, it is though, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
like the mecca, high fantasy archetype that hasn't been explored in as many video games as you might think. I mean, there's been a lot of Lord of the Rings games, yeah, but never enough. Never enough. And I don't think we'll ever hit that number where I'll be like, well, that's too many. Because there's so many opportunities for good takes of it. Because of the lore that Tolkien has written. It's been so deep. You can go to like university and learn Elvish and shit.
It really, you know? it really bums me out that Shadow of War is the latest big Lord of the Rings game.
For real, yeah.
It really does. And I'm saying that from a place of passion. You know, I love...
Really cool. Oh, just Battle for Middle-earth 2.
Battle for Middle-earth 2. That's the mainstay. That's a staple. Thank you very much, friend of the channel, Cale Hamilton, for donating that.
Yeah.
But
that's just a look back.
That's just,
I mean, figuratively and literally, the better games that existed.
The physical look back. Lord, there needs to be more Lord of the Rings strategy games. There needs to be more Lord of the Rings RPGs. Like, there's just... Tell me a Lord of the Rings RPG, right? You got that one from the PlayStation 2, which was just...
Third Age.
Exactly. Which was Final Fantasy X, but
with
much worse. But much worse.
Yeah. And you played as people like Arathorn and Grimly.
It was like the worst idea. It was the worst idea for a story ever. I mean, I know, we'll do exactly... It's exactly the same as the Fellowship, but they've just got different names.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
They even look the same.
So there's this flipping Amazon TV deal, right?
Yeah.
And this is something that's been a point of contention for many Lord of the Rings fans across the globe.
Yeah.
Because the films are widely considered the best. Right, by a lot of people. Loads of people, think that they're the best films ever. Not even like the best adaptation.
For sure. Oh, it's them. Yeah, for sure. It's some of my
mega budget movie.
I mean, tell me a film that you rewatch as often as that. Do you know what I mean? I rewatch it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a yearly thing, isn't it? And I know a lot of people who are avid book readers who like the books will read it every year as well.
There's just something about it,
and so a TV show, sort of, I don't know, regurgitating a story that's already been told so belovedly is unusual, and a lot of people are meh about it. But Amazon have bought the rights for it. So does this mean now, with this new distribution of the rights, we will see more opportunities for game developers to start pushing games out in different ways? Because Warner Bros. Are clinching that tight, and what are they doing with it? Oh, Celebrimbor. Nah. Just get some...
Get all of that out of there. All this is on the back of the fact that the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit Lego games have been sort of pulled from digital stores and stuff. You can't buy them anymore. Even though that is a negative move, the fact that there is movement at all is exciting for someone like me, because that makes me think, oh, what's happening then? Yeah. Why are they doing that? And
One step closer to that Total War. Lord of the
Rings Total War. I mean, make that happen. Then I want like a Lord of the Rings sort of Knights of the Old Republic, and then maybe a Lord of the Rings sort of Divinity Original Sin type game, like a CRPG style Lord of the Rings game. That'd be lovely. Maybe a beat 'em up, another beat 'em up. Maybe one that doesn't last 2 hours, one that lasts sort of 8 hours. Maybe that'd be good.
You mean like a hack and slash? I thought you meant a beat 'em up like Tekken.
No, but that's
that would be interesting.
Towers, if you look at Lord of the Rings 2 Towers and Return of the King on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, like the kind of isometric hack and slashy things.
Yeah, also described as a beat 'em up.
Yeah. But for that whole minute, I was trying to keep a straight face, thinking that you were on about some sort of like Street Fighter. But Lord of the Rings.
That'd be ace, though.
I mean, even that would work.
Streets of Rage, but with Gimli, topless Gimli.
Just don't put any fucking crafting in them.
Right, Jake's done a thing about, what was it?
Crafting. It's true though. Below is an action-adventure roguelike video game developed by Capybara Games for the Xbox and the PC. It looks amazing. Look at it. It sounds amazing. You can't hear it because I'm talking, but if I wasn't, you'd agree, trust me. So far, it's 2 out of 3. Now, all it needs is a solid gameplay loop, and we've got an amazing indie game. Except, we don't. And after a 5-year wait, Below comes up far too short regarding its own gameplay loop. And I think this is why. Go back to Minecraft. I'm assuming you've all played it, and if you managed to play it before the hype, then you'll probably have been blown away by the simple combination of crafting and survival working so well. Punching trees, building houses to hide from enemies, exploring the next day, gathering more stuff, blah blah blah. Minecraft didn't invent the idea, there was loads of crafting mechanics in games growing up, but this is a recent example that became so profitable that survival and crafting mechanics became a marketing buzzword. God of War, Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Witcher 3 all feature crafting. You could argue that only one of them really needs it. It's even been put in games after launch too. No Man's Sky's huge improvements over the past 2 years are, in my opinion, bogged down by the, to be honest, boring crafting mechanics that they've ramped up massively since release. And it doesn't always work because just like chucking multiplayer in every game ever that they did last generation, they haven't thought about it and it's going to be crap. Crafting items can be satisfying and it can totally work. Building a rare item by mixing 2 items together and keeping them, permanently enhancing your character, base, town, whatever, is the real core of games like Ark, Survival Evolved, Conan Exiles, tons of RPGs. So then why can't Below nail it? Well, Below is a roguelike adventure, like Dead Cells, The Binding of Isaac, or, well, Rogue. It's the template of do stuff in a randomly generated place, die, do stuff again as another character in another randomly generated place. The secret sauce in games like this is the motivation. You just died, so what? You can come back straight away, and who knows what cool shit you're going to find this run. Momentum is essential. Without it, you've just been crafting for 40 minutes, dying instantly when you've stood on a hidden spike pit, and then you've got to spend 15 minutes just clawing your way back into the cave, hoarding bat wings and shit to craft for better gear. Below doesn't seem to know what it wants to be. The game's environment is a gloomy cave, so hunting for food or making torches makes complete aesthetic sense. It's just not fun. Exploring a randomly generated area that looks like this lost, forgotten city underground, but your stupid little hunger bars glowing at you, and then you're quickly reminded that you need to stab a bat to chomp on him, might sound like it's quite realistic, but it's just not fun. It's that awkward halfway house between a roguelike and a survival crafting experience, and is there a way for it to have worked? Maybe, but I don't think they've done it. And how gutted am I about this? Very. I played the game for hours and hours trying to look past it. A lot of games I've played before have mechanics that annoyed me at first and I just grew to love it. I had a nice time on Below initially, but later on the momentum is just crushed by this weird pacing. And as soon as I die, I don't want to go back and try again. I just want to uninstall it. I try not to moan about games, to be honest, especially on my little segment, but I wanted to use this as an opportunity to ask you a question, and it's this. What's the biggest victim of the, hey, let's just chuck survival and crafting mechanics into a game? Or can you think of a game where it really doesn't work? Because for me, when someone asks me that question now, I know what the answer is. It's Below. Let me know, and I'm sorry for having a moan. There was a lot of potential for Below to really be amazing, but unfortunately for me, crafting got in the way of it. And it's not the first time it happened.
It looks great, man. It looks very appealing, I've got to say. It looks like I would enjoy it, but based on what you've said, I
you know,
won't.
The key to any of those types of games is that momentum.
It's being good is the key, really.
Yeah, but any roguelike, any game like that where you die so frequently, you need to want to go straight back into it. You know, whether it's something like, you know, Rogue itself, or Dead Cells, or something not even roguelike, but something that involves dying a lot, like Dark Souls. You have to be straight away motivated to go back, whereas Below, when you die, I'm just like, oh, fuck this. Go on Viva Pinata for a bit. So, I don't know. That's what I thought about it anyway. And I don't normally moan on it, do I? So, the fact that I did that was because...
It's not called special moans.
It's not. It certainly isn't. Fucking hell. Let's go and talk about Onimusha.
Onimusha Warlords is being released next week for the PS4, PC, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. But more importantly, it's being given the remaster treatment. This new version of Warlords includes enhancements, such as improved character models, higher resolution backgrounds, support for widescreen display, a newly arranged soundtrack, and an updated control scheme with support for analog stick movement. It's out on Tuesday the 15th of January and it costs $15.99 here in the UK, and it's probably the biggest thing to happen to the Onimusha franchise in years. So to celebrate, let's take a look back at one of Capcom's most beloved series. The Onimusha series had its origins in 1997 when Capcom producer Yoshiki Akamoto wanted to create a version of Resident Evil set in Sengoku, Japan and featuring ninjas instead of zombies. This idea led to the development of the first iteration of Onimusha Warlords, which was originally meant to come out for the PS1, but this version was scrapped about halfway through development, and development started again from scratch, with the goal being to release the game for the then upcoming PS2. Capcom finally released Onimusha Warlords in 2001 for the PS2, and the game follows the samurai Samanosuke Akechi as he battles the forces of Nobunaga Oda and attempts to rescue Princess Yuki from an army of demons. Onimusha Warlords gameplay is similar to Resident Evil, but this time it's mostly action based rather than survival, with players controlling Samanosuke and navigating through a mostly linear world while solving the occasional puzzle to progress. When in combat, players have to take on the combat stance using the R1 button, which allows them to target enemies, and using a combination of button presses, players can pull off various sword skills in combat. Eventually, players can acquire more weapons and skills such as elemental based swords, magic spells, and long range weapons with limited ammo. When an enemy is defeated in combat, they drop souls, which can be used to upgrade weapons and abilities, or restore health and magic points. Warlords also has a secondary playable character, the Ninja Kaidi, who has her own unique moveset and abilities, but she can only be played during certain sections of the game. Upon its release, Onimusha Warlords was met with strong reviews and even stronger sales, with critics praising the fast-paced action and graphics, but criticising the game's short length. Onimusha Warlords also holds the distinction of being the first PS2 game to sell over 1 million units, with the game eventually managing to ship over 2 million units worldwide. But Warlords was immensely popular during its initial release, and it would serve as the foundation for a whole new franchise. A follow-up, Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny, was released in 2002, which featured a new main protagonist, 4 playable sub-characters, and a grander scope than the first game. Unlike the first game, Onimusha 2 was a great success for Capcom, receiving very positive reviews and selling 1.9 million copies worldwide as of 2008. But Onimusha 2 didn't sell very well in Europe, which led to Capcom taking a slightly different direction with the next game. But the next mainline Onimusha game wouldn't release until 2004, and in the meantime Capcom made 2 spin-offs. The first was Onimusha Tactics, which came out in 2003 for the Game Boy Advance, and it was a turn-based strategy game similar to Final Fantasy Tactics. The second spin-off was Onimusha Blade Warriors, a side-scrolling fighting game featuring multiple playable characters from the franchise, which released for the PS2 in 2003. Then, in 2004, Capcom released the third main entry in the series, Onimusha 3 Demon Siege. Demon Siege saw the return of Samanosuke as a playable character, but this time he shared the spotlight with Leon the Professional himself, Jean Reno, who lent his voice and likeness to the character Jacques Blanc. The story of Demon Siege sees Samanosuke teleported to modern-day France in the middle of a demon invasion, while Jacques is sent back in time to Sengoku, Japan, to also face a demon invasion. New features introduced in Demon Siege included a fully 3D environment instead of pre-rendered backgrounds, a time travel gameplay mechanic, and full analog control. Upon its release, Demon Siege was met with very positive reviews and strong sales like its predecessors, with the game generating sales of over 1.5 million copies. Capcom originally planned for Demon Siege to be the final installment of a trilogy, but fan demand led them to make a 4th game in the series, Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. Dawn of Dreams released in 2006 for the PS2 and introduced many new features to the series, such as a fully 3D camera, AI squad mates who could be ordered about, and the ability to replay previously completed stages. When it released, Dawn of Dreams received solid reviews, with praise for its gameplay changes but criticism for its story and voice acting. But the game did not sell very well, and the game's lackluster sales were apparently because it launched in the same time frame as the Xbox 360 and PS3. So by this time, players had moved on to the next gen of consoles, and that was pretty much the last big thing the Onimusha series did. A browser-based game called Onimusha Soul was released in 2012, but most people would probably rather forget about that one. So that brings us to 2019 and the Onimusha Warlords remaster. So hopefully if this remaster sells well, then Capcom might decide to give the other Onimusha games the same treatment, or maybe even develop a new installment. It's also worth mentioning that back in 2017, Capcom expressed interest in reviving some of their old IPs, specifically mentioning HD remasters of older titles for modern platforms. So maybe this means Capcom will remaster classics such as Breath of Fire, Lost Planet, or Chaos Legion, and maybe, just maybe, they will finally give us that Dino Crisis remake that we have all been craving for so long. I've been Liam, see you next time.
What I like about this, is that it's the same. It's on a lot of platforms and it's the same price on a lot of platforms. Onimusha Warlords.
Do you mean the Switch? Are you on about the Switch? Yeah?
Well, not necessarily. It's $15.99 on the Switch, on the PlayStation, on the Xbox, on the PC. You know, a lot of the time you get fluctuation. Like a game will be it'll be 30 quid on the PC, it'll be 40 quid on the consoles,
125
£55 quid on the Switch, and if it's on all four, you know, which is a rare occurrence for a simultaneous thing. So this is really good news as far as I'm concerned. And basically, if you're gaming in 2019, you've got one of these, and if you want to play Onimusha, you know, you can. It doesn't matter if you've only got a Switch or if you've only got a PlayStation.
You know, like
you can do it.
Kingdom I did last week, some people would comment saying, oh, I would probably never have gotten this game if you hadn't brought it to my attention or whatever. This is one of those games that I really would recommend checking out. Liam has just done a fucking good job with this voiceover, showed you some fucking gameplay. And you know what? It's something that I don't hear many people talking about. But I remember playing, not even I remember it fondly enough. But when I did play it, I remember it had a real nice difficulty to it.
Yeah.
And
I was saying exactly this to Liam earlier. You weren't there. But I was saying exactly what you're saying now.
Yeah.
And I think you're totally right.
I think it deserves some time in the spotlight, and hopefully it'll either remind people that did play it and actually enjoyed it at the time, and hopefully gather some new fans, because if we do get some new fans, then new game.
Yeah, more Onimusha.
Which can only be a good thing.
I mean, there's a lot of games that are kind of doing faintly similar things to it these days. Well, I won't say a lot of games, but there are games that exist now that kind of make you go, oh, it's a bit like Onimusha. There's a bit, you know, elements of it. So I think there is an appetite, is what I was going to say. I think there is definitely an appetite firstly for Onimusha Warlords, and then for more Onimusha, just like a proper.
Yeah, it's just that with
Onimusha
between.
Sorry, continue.
I don't know what I can do with that.
What are you going to say?
I was just going to say fucking Sekiro's coming out, and that's got demons and fucking
this is what I mean.
In it.
Yeah.
Neo 2,
then you've got
Ghost of Tsushima. I mean, that's probably not as fantasy driven as Neo 2 and Sekiro, but still. So yeah, Onimusha, if there is it needs to come out now to remind people, hey, I'm the OG, rather than just a new Onimusha coming out. Everyone's like, hang on, what's this Sekiro rip?
I tell you what though, it is going to be jarring for people because of the way it controls and the way it handles, because it's got fixed camera points, isn't it?
Yeah, it was static, wasn't it? Yeah.
So you kind of a bit like Resident Evil, the original Resident Evil,
yeah,
except with a samurai sword. So anyway, there's a lot of gaming stuff in that episode there, what we just did. I thought it was alright.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. So if I was to audit our show,
considering it's January, the second week of January, a lot of games coming out.
Yeah, this is normally a dry time. But we decided to go everywhere, Middle Earth, in below, and to Japan. So we went a nice little tour there.
The title sorted.
See
you next week.
Bye.